Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic and welcome back to the channel. And today for you guys is another movie review. Now this might be a little bit of a weird video because you're probably wondering, Franchise Fanatic, you said you weren't going to watch this movie, right? Why would you want to watch this movie? Well, I have a few stipulations here. The first one is that I had a bet, okay? Alan, if you're watching this, I did the bet. So basically, I told Alan, I'm like, hey, Evil Dead Rise was coming out. I'm like, hey, I really want to watch Evil Dead Rise. Do you want to go? And he's like, oh, okay, sure. There's a fly. Okay, sure. Whatever. I think I got the fly, actually. And he was like, oh, okay, sure. I'll go see it. And what ended up happening was he ended up watching the movie like this. And I was watching the movie like this. So I said, all right, look, you can get me back and you can take me to any movie you want. I don't care what movie it is. Even if it's Barbie. He took me to see Barbie, okay? I mean, Jesus. So I did the bet, okay? You're welcome. I wouldn't have seen this by my own self. I just wouldn't. Second stipulation, yeah, it looked kind of weird seeing two dudes walk in to see Barbie. Again, I am straight, so it was a little bit wonky. You'd be like, I'm seeing Barbie. You know what I mean? Kind of weird. Every other movie is for dudes, right? Oppenheimer, TMNT, Blue Beetle. Nope, gotta see Barbie. But it was fun. I hung out with Alan, I guess, so that was fun. We got Duncan in the end. But is this movie good? My third stipulation is it surprisingly is well made, but it also is a complete woke disaster. And you guys know I don't like to talk about politics on the channel. I'm not a political channel. But when your movie is so in strew with politics that it's like almost like half of the movie is barfing rainbows in your eyes, half of it's pretty good, and then I guess a little baby sliver is just propaganda to shove down your throat. And look, let's get into the obvious stuff. This is a movie for girls. Obviously, right? No, I mean, I wouldn't see this by myself. I know Alan was like, oh, it'll be funny. But, I'm not going to pay to see Barbie. But for all intents and purposes, I did have fun. It was a well-made film. I'm not going to spoil it, even though it made $1 billion friggin' dollars. I don't have a cold, I don't know, it's just whatever. But for some reason, this movie hit $1 billion and Dial of Destiny failed. Flash failed. No one's effing watching Blue Beetle. I haven't seen it yet either. I want to. But anyway, yeah, so it was kind of weird to see that, yeah, this is actually like well made, you know what I mean? Because when I saw the trailer, I'm like, okay, the trailer looks fine. And then actually watching the movie, the effects are good. Like, the way they kind of make, they don't walk around like the Lego movie, like Toy Story 3 Barbie and Ken. But they, Ryan Gosling as Ken and Margot Robbie as Barbie, it does work. Like, I believe them. All the actors and actresses are good. And then, like I said, the effects are good. There's scenes where, the car flips over, or, Ken's throwing, shirts or whatever in the air and, it stops. So there's very corny effects in this film, but it's corny in the best way because it makes you relate to, yeah, this is either a little girl playing with a doll, or it's just meant to evoke that sense of toy, believability. Barbie pours a freaking drink, but there's nothing in the cup because she's a toy. They even make a joke about she doesn't have a vagina because she's a Barbie doll. You know what I mean? It's just stuff like that. And that is funny. Yeah, it is a PG-13 movie. I'll get into the demographic in a minute, but the effects are good, and again, it really does kind of evoke that sense of, oh yeah, these are toys, and this is kind of funny. There's a dog, but it's just like a toy dog, and it goes bark, woof, schnork, and it poops out little eggs and stuff. It's very much a toy-driven movie, even though they don't move like toys, they move like people. Also just the sets or the CGI, whatever, the entire background, right? It looks good. Yeah, it's pink, but it looks good in terms of, yeah, this is very well done. Like there's a giant street. It's very well put together in terms of how it looks and the effects and the atmosphere that this movie brings with it. It's very, very apparent that they cared about that aspect. The comedy is also pretty funny. I found myself laughing quite a lot, actually. For a movie that you think is about, dolls for baby girls, no, it's a PG-13 movie. It's not a kid's movie. It very much is it tackles a lot of mature and adult aspects, while also making fun of itself and just being kind of like a Saturday Night Live. Think of the Lego Batman movie, how that was a really well-made parody of Batman and of DC. It's like that, except it's Barbie. You know what I mean? They don't poke fun at Barbie, but they have these little in-jokes. Now look, I'm a dude, I never played with Barbie. I might have touched a Barbie with my little cousin when I was a little kid. She had a dollhouse. I brought over my Lego minifigures and we're fighting, and she was playing with Bratz or Barbie or whatever. So obviously I'm not a girl, so I can't relate to girls in this movie and their experiences playing with dolls and all that. But you know, I mean, for being a dude who's like, I don't want to see this, it actually kind of did look good and was funny. You know, I mean, Margot Robbie's funny, Ryan Gosling's funny. You know, Will Ferrell's really freaking funny. Will Ferrell hasn't been funny in anything since the Lego Movie 2, and he's in that movie for like 5 seconds. So that was kind of cool. I know Strays is out, but I don't think I'm seeing that. But he was funny in this movie. There are lines in this movie that Will Ferrell does. I was literally laughing out loud. Like, it's a very funny movie at times, right? It's not like, you know, oh, this doesn't look great. It's genuinely hilarious at times, which is really cool. The plot is, of course, Barbie is, you know, noticing she's thinking about death, and she's thinking about non-thing. You know, it's basically the Lego Movie, right? Emmett lives in this perfectly designed world, and Emmett, you know, kind of, oh, he falls out of place, and he has to discover himself. That's literally this, except it's PG-13, and it's Barbie. That's literally the only effing difference. Barbie is realizing that there's more to life, and she's having these weird delusional feelings, and all the other Barbies and Kens are perfect, and they're all beautiful, and the Kens are having fun, and they're waving hi to each other. And then, you know, weird Barbie shows up and is like, hey, straight up Matrix style, choose this shoe to go to the real world, choose this shoe to stay in Barbie land and be happy. And of course, the comedy ensues, and Barbie's like, oh, I want to stay in the world, stay here. And she's like, no, you're supposed to pick the one where you want to go out. So there's some funny moments in there. So she ends up going to the real world, and that's when the woke stuff happens. That's really all the best things I can say about the movie. There's a little subplot with like a, I don't know, 13, 14-something-year-old girl and her mom. They kind of make it like, oh, this is tied into why Barbie is having these weird death thoughts and all that. And the setup for the plot is there with these two, you know, the girl and the mom, but it doesn't pull itself in the end together enough for me where I go, okay, I see the arc. It's just, you know, they drop hints, the little girl doesn't like her mom for whatever effing reason, I don't know. I guess she's just a jerk. And then the mom is like, oh, my life sucks, and I just wanted to, whatever, and then that's really all it goes about. This movie is, if I can get into the target demographic, I don't know what this is targeted for. Like, you would think a Barbie movie would be for, like, you know, 8-year-old girls below, maybe? I don't know. You know, I got no clue. But this movie is rated PG-13, so that kind of excludes anyone above. I know people took their 3-year-olds to this shit because it's called Barbie, okay? No one reads. I'm the only person in the whole freaking world that actually follows the damn ratings. If something's rated R, you know there's going to be a 4-year-old in it because they don't care. You know what I mean? That's just parenting now. But the PG-13 movie theoretically states it's for teenagers up, which is what you wouldn't accept, or wouldn't, you know, think a Barbie movie would be for. You'd also think, oh, it's okay, it's either for girls, little girls, or it's for families. I don't think this is for any of those things, because, again, I'm a dude also. It's not for dudes, obviously, it's Barbie. I guess if you're a dude, you want to see it, whatever, but I wouldn't. You know, not like I'm saying I'm a manly man, but, you know, I am. Like, you know, I'm not the biggest sports guy in the whole freaking world, but I wouldn't go see Barbie. So, it's just the target demographic is all over the freaking place, and they have all these weird woke ideologies, and you guys know I hate talking about the woke and the right and the left and all that BS, but this movie is so imbued with the left messaging. It's very sickening and weird. Like, it just taints it. Like, so, you know, I'm laughing, I'm having fun, and then the movie goes off on a tangent that, you know, literally the movie starts out, anyone can be a Barbie, anyone can be a Ken. It's like, okay, we get it, inclusion, I get it. And then after that it goes into, you know, those websites where it says the Barbie movie is a man-hating movie, and it's a ultra-feminist film. It is, yeah. And the problem is that while this is a stupidly woke film, it's a well-made film. That's not to excuse, I don't want your left or right political messaging down my throat. I just want a good effing movie. Thankfully, this is a pretty well-made product, but at the same time, the woke messaging in it is so bad that it was kind of uncomfortable at times. I'm not even kidding. I was cringing in my seat. There's literally scenes where so I mentioned the daughter, and the mom. There's a scene where the mom, it's like the whole third act is basically, I guess I'll back up, but the mom is weird. So to back up a bit, because I want to get this in order. When Barbie and Ken enter the real world, right? Remember, mind you, in the Barbie world, right? The Barbies are happy and perfect. The Kens are happy and perfect. And then Barbie and Ken go to our world, right? The real world. And Barbie and Ken notice something. They notice that all the men rule and all the women are, you know, pushed back. Or Barbie is constantly sexually harassed. Or, you know, people are slapping her booty, which I get it. Margot Robbie's sexy. That's probably why I actually went in the theater. I didn't just tell Alan to go, sorry, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, alright, she's hot, I'll go see it, whatever. But, you know, look, this is what the movie gets wrong about the world. Yes, men can be pigs and horrible people. Yes, women can be pigs and horrible people. But that's not every man, and that's not every woman. And I know it's a satire, but it's really uncomfortable and weird to see when Barbie and Ken go in the real world, the first thing every guy does is be like, I want to get in your panties, and let's see those tits. And just, it's like everything is just like, it's hyper-sexualized. Like, not every man, they portray every man that isn't gay as like a really slobby fat guy who just wants to bang Barbie. And again, as a straight dude, Barbie's hot. But, like, I wouldn't, I respect women. I'm not going to go out in the street and see a hot woman and be like, boom, you know what I mean? Or, like, I don't do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, us dudes, we joke around, but I respect women. I wouldn't do that. Same thing with the women. They kind of poke fun that, well, all the women are really oppressed here, huh? They're really oppressed women here. And then all the men are, horrible people. Will Ferrell is a funny character, but all his boardroom are full of white guys, and they all despise women or whatever. It's literally a man-hating movie, because then the last half of the film is all the Barbies plotting against the Kens. The reason why this even happens is Ken wants to be noticed and loved by Barbie, right? That's why this starts. And then the women who are portrayed in this movie as all-knowing and perfect, they hatch this scheme to make the men think that they like the women, but then right as the men are comfortable with the women, they trick the rug up underneath their feet, and they say, ha, we gotcha, and then they try to take their land back, and then the men fight each other over the Barbies. It's just it's a mess, quite frankly. It's a storytelling mess. Because you have a funny comedy on the one hand with clever callbacks to the Barbie brand, and then on the other hand you have this woke ideology where all men are bad and all women are perfect, and it's just a really, really confusing plot. And I get some people won't pick up on the woke ideology, but anyone with a freaking brainstem knows, because again, going back to what I said in the original part of this, the mom, right, remember the daughter and the mom has this scene where there's a whole montage. She basically pops off, in Call of Duty you say, oh, that guy popped off, or, she basically goes crazy, and she has this crazy rant about how women are oppressed and how, oh, if we're thin, we can't be told to get thin because that's not healthy. And then if we're too healthy, then we gotta get fatter. But we can't get too fat or else the men won't like us. Or we can't dress like thoughts, but we also can't dress like, women from the 50s because they won't respect us. And then, all men are bad, and we have to, every man likes this song. So we gotta play into that and to pretend that they like the song. And it's so cringy, and I know I'm not a woman, but here's a little news flash. Not every woman in the world is oppressed and treated like shit and not given jobs. I know that does happen, and I know men can be bad people towards women, but myself included, I respect women. Not every man in the world does that. And that's what this movie doesn't understand. It tries to portray all men bad, all women good, and then in the end, I guess they kind of make up for it, and they're kind of both equal happy in the end. Not to spoil it, but that's what happens. And it just comes off as it does. It comes off as man-hating. Like, every man is just horrible. There's not a redeeming dude in this, except for the character Alan. Not my friend Alan. There's a guy in it called Alan. And then I was like, oh, that's why you took me to see it. But basically, Alan in the movie, played by Michael Cera, who was Robin in the Lego Batman movie, he is, the only one that the women kind of respect, because he... I don't know, man. You got a good plot with the mom and daughter, but that gets befuddled. There's really no good ending to that, or any kind of context why the daughter hates the mom. And then the mom just goes crazy and says all men are bad, and we have to, literally there's a montage where, the girl's like, you're a doctor. You want to put on your pants? You don't have to wear a gown. You don't have to clean or cook. You're a woman. Go be a doctor. It's like, some women like to cook and clean. Not every woman is a feminist where they have to be a pro wrestler and whatever the hell they're doing. If you are a powerful woman, I'm all for that. But at the same time, not every woman wants to be like that. Just like not every man is a horrible piece of crap toward women. And I get it's kind of meant to be a satire, but it does come off as cringy and very preachy in a movie that should be made for little girls to promote toys, you know what I mean? Or at least women of all ages, right? The Lego movie isn't a kid's movie, it's for everyone. It's for kids, teens, and adults. This is kind of the same thing, even though I really wouldn't call it, it's PG-13. So there's some cursing, there's some adult material and all that. But, besides for the good effects and the pretty funny lines at times. There are some really standout funny lines. There's a really unique scene in the end where Barbie meets a specific person. I didn't know who the person was, because again, I don't know anything about Barbie, but think of like Stan, you know, like when you watch a Marvel movie and you're like, oh, there's Stan Lee, or, you know, George Lucas cameos in Revenge of the Sith, or something like that, you know what I mean? You know, me, a fan of Marvel and Star Wars, would go, oh, I know that, you know, and I'm sure a fan of Barbie would know this specific thing. Other than that, you know, some really good CGI effects. There's some good songs, I guess, some good choreography, some pretty good shots in there, too. There's a shot in the trailer where, like, the men are fighting and Ken kind of does, like, this karate pose. There's some good cinematography in the movie, don't get me wrong. It's not a dumpster fire. It does look good. It's very funny at times. It's well made, good score, good, you know, plot for the most part. But then you get the plot with the mom and daughter, and that falls apart. And then you have them enter the real world, and then it just becomes a political nightmare. You know, I get it. It's funny because, you know, Ken goes to a museum and he sees what dudes like, and it's like football and trucks and sports and guns. And I like sports. I'm not the biggest sports guy in the world. I like guns. You know, guns are cool. You know, I mean, I like Call of Duty. I like trucks. I don't have a truck. I probably couldn't see past the steering wheel, but, you know, trucks are cool. So yeah, I'm a pretty stereotypical dude. But not every dude is an asshole toward women, you know what I mean? And then that's how it's kind of portrayed. And yeah, that's part of the comedy sometimes, but it's like they wanted to play it for comedy, and then sometimes they wanted it to be serious. And when it gets serious and they try to do this, like, mature talking down, it just comes across as preachy and cringy, you know what I mean? Because like I said, not every woman wants to be an ultra-feminist who wears pants every day. Not every man is a horrible beer-drinking fat guy who just slaps women's asses all day and wants to get in their panties. It's not like that. I know it is like that for some people, but not every person's like that. And because that's true, the movie doesn't know where to fall. It's funny. It's pretty action-packed. There's an action scene at one point. I mean, it's shot well. This has the makings of a really good movie, regardless if you're a little girl or a dude like myself. I still had fun watching this movie. But at the same time, it's hard to ignore the political values in this movie because it's literally the whole aspect of the movie. The movie literally opens with a bunch of races of Barbie. You can be a Barbie, and you can be a Barbie, you can be a Ken, you can be a Ken. The movie starts with inclusion. Now, I'm all for inclusion, you know, I mean, if you want to be a Barbie, whatever, but it's just so hand-fisted. Like, when I think of Barbie, I think of Margot Robbie, and she is the star, and it is cool to see all these different, these different Barbies of, you know, there's a black Barbie and a Barbie in a wheelchair, and that's cool, but it just, like, I didn't think it would start out that way. I thought you would see Margot, so they're pushing stuff from the very beginning. And then you also get, there's a transgender Barbie, which, obviously, I'm a Catholic, I don't agree with that. If you are, that's fine. I respect your choice, I guess. I don't agree with it, but whatever. I can't change it. But I didn't even know who it was. I thought it was a girl, so I guess they passed the test. I couldn't tell. So yeah, there's woke stuff all over the freaking place. And it's funny, and there's some really good ideas in there. But a lot of it gets bogged down by, again, that whole every man bad, woman good thing. And if you don't believe me, please watch this movie. Because again, it is watchable. I think it's a fun film. But a lot of it, especially toward the end, there's, like I said, there's literally a montage of this mom going off on how all women are oppressed and that we need to, men are stupid, so if we think that we like the song by a campfire, we'll fall in love with them, and then we can pull the rug from out underneath their feet and destroy Ken Town. And this is all happening because Ken wants to be loved and seen by Barbie. So what do the women do? They destroy the lives of Ken. Doesn't seem like the women are perfect, huh? Even though they're portrayed to be in the film. It's just a political nightmare. It makes no sense regardless whether you believe left or right. If you just watch the movie and you don't care about political messaging, again, it's hard to ignore that because that's the whole point of the movie. Even the writer said the point of the movie is about feminism and woke. That's the whole point. But if you can try to not look past that, which I did, you know, it's a free movie, I mean, free content. I did have fun with it. Would I buy this on Blu-ray? No, I would never own this because I'm a dude. But at the same time, I did have fun with it. Like, you know what I mean? I don't regret watching this movie. I had some fun, I had some laughs. There's a pretty touching moment in the end, a cool cameo by someone, because they actually tell you who that person is in the movie, so I didn't have to Google it. Good acting, good writing for the most part. There's some clever jokes in there. The practical effects are really good. The effects, like the CGI effects, are corny, but they make it work because that's the era of Barbie. You know, like I said, there's some really good in-jokes in there, and Will Ferrell is funny as ever. There's some really clever moments. Again, it's a very imaginative and clever movie, but it's all bogged down by political messaging, especially toward the end of the film where that's all they talk about. And again, they get their information wrong. Not every person is an a-hole toward women, and not every woman is an a-hole toward men. I get it's satire. It's very cringy. So I'm going to have to give Barbie probably a... I don't know, this one's tough. Because normally when something is woke in a movie, I don't obviously agree with that, but it doesn't impact the score. This does impact the score only because it is a literal aspect. It is like integral to the plot. That's literally the plot. So I would have to give Barbie probably a C, maybe a C+. It's very, very apparent, and it's very cringy. I was literally cringing in my seat. I did feel genuinely uncomfortable at some aspects. And there were women in the theater, and I was getting nervous at all the women. Like when this woman was like, "Oh, men are bad." Nah. I was expecting the women to be like, "Whoa!" And I would have been like, "Fuck! Like, what? I'm a dude." You know what I mean? I'm gonna get assaulted. But no, all jokes aside, if it's a bit awkward at times, but that's the only reason why. Again, if this wasn't a political movie and it was just Barbie and Ken go to the real world, and maybe there's some jabs here or there, but the whole integral port is not that. It would be a much higher score, surprisingly, because again, I was expecting dog cheeks, but it ended up being pretty good, actually. I'd probably, like I said, C+ is a fairly good rating. It's got some good effects, good in music, good acting. There's a lot of really good stuff in here, like genuinely good. The shots are good, cinematography looks good, the effects are great, it's really funny, but then you know, that C+ really kicks in because it's literally a part of the movie, and I don't care if you are Democrat or Republican, I don't care. Even if I was Democrat, I'd be like, "Oh, this is kind of awkward." You know what I mean? Like, I just want to watch a movie. Like, I just want to watch my Barbie movie. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want messages down my throat, either left or right. That's where the movie fails, and it mixes up its messaging and themes, especially with the mom and daughter. That really doesn't go anywhere or give you any kind of setup or context as to why this is going on. It's there, it's brief, but it's not nearly what I wanted. So again, Barbie is an okay movie. I wouldn't get it, but it is watchable. If you're on the fence, I would say maybe give it a try. It is a funny comedy. But again, if you're, you know, hardcore against the woke, it's very, very cringy. Even if you're not, like... even if you like don't even know what the heck is woke, you know what I mean? It is a bit awkward, especially if you're a dude watching it, because like I said, that scene where women are like making fun of men, it kind of feels a bit sexist, and I know it's a joke, but it just really felt awkward. So again, I had fun. I wouldn't own it, I wouldn't buy it again, but you know, it's decent. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Again, I don't like talking about politics too much, but this was literally imbued with the plot, so I had to bring it up, or else I wouldn't be doing the movie review justice. Trust me, if you hate politics, I hate talking about it too. You know, even though I have my view and you have your view, I just want to cover franchises, and this one happened to be literally integral to politics. Whether it's, you know, right down your face or it's kind of hard to pick out, it's still there. And don't worry, the next movie review, whatever I see, hopefully Blue Beetle, you know, even if there's something woke in that, I'm not even going to bring it up, you know, and it won't impact the score, because I know it won't be part of the plot. So anyway, just wanted to kind of give that out there. So thanks, Alan, if you're watching this, man. I had a good time with the movie. I guess you got me back for Evil Dead Rise. It was fun hanging out, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this Barbie review. Again, thanks to Echo Killshot for the thumbnail. I'm going to have a link for his description down in the description down below. So hope you guys enjoyed. Oh boy, what a thumbnail, what a video, what a movie. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.